You ever wonder how an AI actually learns? I mean, not just through, endless trial and error. What if an AI could just stop, take a look at what it did wrong, and then literally write itself a note on how to get it right the next time? Well, believe it or not, that's what we're diving into in this explain. So, for the longest time, teaching an AI has kind of felt like a choice between two extremes. You've got the old way, right? The brute force approach. It's slow, it's super expensive, and it's basically just guessing over and over. And then there's the dream, a smarter way, something fast, efficient, where the AI actually understands. Today, we're looking at a huge step, a massive leap, really, toward making that dream a reality.
All right, so this gets us to the core problem, a real paradox in AI right now. The bigger and more powerful these models get, the harder and slower it is to train them to be even better. It's like the very tools we're using to make them smarter are becoming this massive bottleneck. Kind of ironic, right?
Okay, let's break this down with an analogy. Picture a chef trying to create a masterpiece. Now, the old school way, what we call reinforcement learning, or RL, is like that chef just randomly chucking ingredients in a bowl tens of thousands of times. And after every single try, all they get is a simple thumbs up, better, or thumbs down, worse. They have no clue why it was better or worse. It's just a colossal waste of time and food. And that's exactly the problem we've been facing with AI.
But what if that same chef could taste their own cooking, realize, you know what, this needs a little more salt, and then actually write that down for the next try? Well, that's pretty much the brilliant idea behind GEPA. It's a brand new algorithm coming from a real powerhouse team. We're talking researchers from UC Berkeley, Stanford, you name it, and it completely flips the script on how AI can learn.
So, GEPA, it stands for genetic Pareto. Now, the genetic part is cool. It's about how it evolves different ideas over time. But the real magic, the absolute game changer, is the self-reflection part. It uses language. So instead of just getting a score, like 8 out of 10, GEPA actually reads through the entire report of what it did, the good parts, the bad parts, all of it. And then, get this, it literally writes new, better instructions for itself. It's learning from words, not just from numbers. It's incredible.
Okay, so how does an AI reflect on its own work? This is where it gets really, really cool. Let's walk through GEPA's learning process, step by step, and see how it goes from just guessing to actually thinking. It all boils down to this really elegant 4-step loop. First, the AI just does the task. Simple enough. But then, step 2, it analyzes everything it just did. And I don't mean just getting a grade. No, it's like reading its own homework line by line to see every single move. Step 3, it figures out where it went wrong, it diagnoses the failure, and then writes down specific ways to fix it. And finally, step 4, it uses those notes to evolve its own internal rulebook. So it's not just learning a task, it's literally teaching itself how to think more effectively.
And just look at the kind of stuff it writes for itself. This is not try harder next time. No way. This is a full-on strategy guide. It's laying out its key observations, its practical strategy. It's clarifying the goal for itself. The AI is basically becoming its own high-performance coach, tweaking its own game plan after every single run. It's amazing.
All right, so remember the Pareto part of the name? This is where that comes in, and it is so important. See, a lot of other methods do what's called a greedy search. Imagine you're at the bottom of a mountain range. A greedy search just finds the closest hill and starts climbing. The problem? It might be a tiny hill, and you get stuck there, never seeing the giant mountain right behind it. But GEPA's Pareto approach, it's like turning on a giant floodlight that illuminates the entire mountain range. It lets the AI see all the highest peaks at once, so it can find the truly best solutions, not just the first one it stumbles upon.
So all of this sounds incredible in theory, right? A self-coaching strategic AI. But here's the billion-dollar question. Does it actually work in practice? Well, the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. Let's check out the numbers. And the results are just wow. They're super clear. Across a whole bunch of really complex tasks, GEPA doesn't just keep up with the old methods, it consistently beats them. We're talking an average of 10% better, and on some tasks, it's pushing a 20% improvement. This isn't just a different flavor of learning. It's a flat-out better one. But honestly, performance is only half the picture. To me, this is the most mind-blowing part. GPA gets those better results while being up to 35 times more efficient. 35! Remember that bottleneck we talked about? The slow, expensive training? This smashes right through it. We're talking about needing 35 times fewer tries to get a better answer. That's not just a small tweak, that is a total game changer for how fast and how cheap it could be to develop top-tier AI.
The research also turned up something that seems almost backwards at first. They found that spending time evolving a great set of instructions, basically teaching the AI how to think, worked better than just feeding it a ton of examples of the right answer. It really drives home the point. For these advanced AIs, it looks like a great teacher is way more valuable than a huge textbook.
Okay, let's just recap. We have an AI that's better, and it gets there way, way faster. So that leads us to the biggest question of all, right? What does this massive shift away from brute force and towards self-reflection really mean for where AI is headed?
Now, let's be clear. The researchers are the first to say that GPA isn't a silver bullet for every single situation. There are still some open questions, like how it stacks up when you have just mountains of data to work with. But the future possibilities here are so exciting. Think about it. What if you could create hybrid systems, ones that combine the smart reflective thinking of GPA with the raw horsepower of other methods? Man, that could be the next big breakthrough. And maybe the best way to sum it all up comes directly from the researchers. They basically said the future of making AI better might not be about more brute force, but about giving these systems the ability to reflect on themselves. By teaching them to learn from language, we're building AIs that don't just do things better. They actually start to understand why. And that really leaves us with one final, pretty mind-bending thought. We're moving into a world where an AI doesn't just follow the recipe, it can write the whole cookbook itself. So what happens when our most powerful tools can not only complete a task, but can genuinely understand their own successes and their own failures? That's a huge question, and I think we're all about to find out the answer together.